Welcome back to Mike Heath's Orbital Garbage Project. I am Mike Heath, and this is my podcast,
Nay.
our podcast, all about one thing and one thing only: collecting a piece of space trash by any means.
Necessary.
I don't know if you've heard, but we officially have the theme for this year's summer. Last summer, 2025, that was Brat Summer. Everybody was about Brat Summer. Well, the summer of 2026, it's not Brat Summer anymore. It's Rattail Summer. That's right, folks. 2026 summer, Rattail Summer. I'm happy to be a part of it. Really, I think that we may be starting it of Rattail Summer. I've been growing this out for about 6-7 months, and I'm happy to do my part as an innovator of not only innovating in the space of collecting a piece of space trash, but also innovating what someone might say is maybe the best, theme for a summer ever, because we've had Brat Summer. I think before that was like Hot Girl Summer or Hot Boy Summer. But this summer, it's Rat Tail Summer. And many people think that rat tail is something only for bullies or white trash. But I think this is, people have been looking, what's going to unify our country? Well, I think it's the rat tail. There's something about a rat tail. Number one, it's progressive. It's men and women both having long hair or short hair with a rat tail. And a lot of people think, well, if I have long hair, I can't have a rat tail. Yes, you can. You just got to have it a little bit longer and braid it like this, and you have your very own rat tail. In fact, and then people are also like, well, Mike, summer's already here or almost here. I don't have time to grow out my hair to form my own rat tail. It doesn't need to be real. It just needs to be authentic to you. So you can go on Amazon. I think you can get a pack of like 6-7 different rat tails. And so you could maybe style them. You could braid them differently, have fake hair. Heck, go down to your local barber shop or salon and say, hey, I don't know if you guys have heard, but it's the summer of the rat tail. I would like, next time you cut some hair, give me some of that, let me have some of that hair. And maybe you got to ask permission and sign a waiver or something. I don't know what you got to do to get yourself a rat tail. But friend, you're here. You're at the cutting edge of culture. Many people aren't talking about space trash collection like we are, and I'm happy to introduce you to the theme for this year's summer, the summer of the rat tail. And I'm really excited about what this is going to do for not just America, but the world, because I think people say America's divided, but I think the world's divided right now. And I'm just happy to be this kind of unifying source of culture, movement, connection. I'm all about connection, connecting people to our great work of space trash collection. So I'll drop a link if if you're in a place where you can't cut your hair, or maybe your job would frown upon a rat tail and you want to get like a temporary one that you can, put on after work when you're winding down or maybe going out on the town. You can grab that. So I'll put the Amazon link. No, it's not affiliate. I want to make it as easy as possible for you, my friends, nay, my family, to participate in the theme of this summer. And again, it's not just an American. I think, I don't know about Brat Summer or Hot Girl Summer, if that really expanded past, the borders of America, the United States of America, to be more specific. But I really envision this. I picture our listeners, you who are listening or watching over on the YouTube channel where you get the video format. I picture you, if you are a long time listener from Mexico, or a long time listener, Igor from Belarus, get yourself. I believe that Amazon Prime, as much as evil as it does, I think the one thing it can do for us is give us an opportunity to come together this summer with the Rattail. And I know, if I'm in the northern hemisphere, if you're in the southern hemisphere, your seasons look different than mine. And I want to invite you, if you are heading into not summer, but maybe winter, where you live, make it Rattail winter. It doesn't have to just be sunshine and the beach, but I'm so excited to take my tail out to, local businesses, establishments, and the nice thing about the Rattail. So if you are on like maybe a Zoom call at work and you want to rep your tail, flip it back. You can't even tell that I'm wearing it, but if you're in party mode, flip that bad boy up and you got yourself a Rattail. So yeah, I'm just so excited. Please, feel free to ask any questions you may have about Rattail Summer. You can drop a comment. I believe on Spotify, you can comment there if you're listening there, or if you're on YouTube, obviously, drop a mint there. I will be sure to engage and field any questions you may have about Rattail Summer. But I truly view this as not just an American or even just a space trash force thing, but really something that people all across the globe will be able to participate in. And I think that this is the perfect place for this grassroots movement to take off, is because, as you know, friends, longtime listeners or viewers, as you're pumping this into your eye holes or your ear sockets, is that we are not just in a podcast for, or a movement rather, for the American people. We are a global movement. We are now in 24 different countries. That's right, folks. Over this last week, we have added a new country, and this is really quite exciting. I got a lot of positive feedback from last week about not just, putting it out there, but making it a little like gamifying it a little bit by playing a little bit of the national anthem for the country that we added over this last week. So I want to go ahead and do that again for us this week. So I'm going to play a little bit of the national anthem. This is non-copyright music, and I'm going to give you a couple seconds to guess. Feel free to, engage that way, or maybe if you're listening to this podcast or viewing it with your friends and family, make it a little game. Maybe pause it, maybe grab a sheet of paper from the kitchen or the junk drawer or a notebook that you have, tear out sheets and grab everybody a pen or a pencil or whatever you use to ink a paper, and, pause it, cue it up, and get everybody a piece of paper. And then, I'll play the 30 seconds of this clip here for you. And then you can guess along the way and write it down. And then maybe, you guys can compare notes here. So here we go. Let's get this going. All right. Our newest country for a listener to Mike Heath's Orbital Garbage Project is from this country's, and here is their anthem. I'll play 30 seconds for you to guess. You guys want some hints? In this country, 1 out of 3 people live alone. That's your first hint. In this country, fruits are notoriously expensive. Ooh. And your final hint is, culturally speaking, you should avoid the number 4. that crescendo was beautiful. Let's just play the last 9 seconds of this song. Beautiful, beautiful anthem. I love your anthem. Thank you so much to our new listener from the great country of South Korea. That's right, folks. For the very first time in the history of Mike Heath's Orbital Garbage Project, we have at least one, if not more, listeners in the great country of South Korea. Let's learn a little bit together. Obviously, if you are our South Korean listener, you probably know these fun facts about South Korea, but something we do here, I know you're new to the Mike Heath Orbital Garbage Project, something we like to do is to learn a little bit about, where you are from. So, we kind of have some common ground as we work together in collecting $2 million for a piece of space trash. So here are some fun facts about South Korea. We've already named some of them. Did you know that 1 in 3 South Korean people live alone? Now, I think that's really quite interesting. I would be curious. I did not look this up, but how many people from Mexico? We have a great fan base in Mexico, or Russia, or Belarus, or of course the United States of America. How does that compare? And I'm curious for you, our new South Korean listener, do you live alone? Do you share a residence with family, or what that looks like for you? Something I learned about South Korean culture that I absolutely love. In South Korean culture, you don't need to tip. And I'm all about supporting our service workers here in the great state of United States of America. I love being able, to tip, but I like the option of not being obligated to tip, because sometimes you want to go out to a nice restaurant. Like for me, me and my family, we aren't rich, but we love a bougie meal. So I actually like to go to a restaurant where you have to order your food at a counter, and then you go sit down and they just take your food out to you and bring your drinks, but they don't wait your table, because I don't feel the obligation in that situation to tip. Now I usually do tip a little bit because they are bringing the food out, but they're not taking care of us for the rest of the time. And maybe they'll bust the table, maybe they're not, but I think it just opened up doors, for us to go get a nice meal, where maybe, if we had the expectation of tipping 20%, maybe financially we couldn't go to that restaurant. Let me flip this back. Speaking of food in South Korea, this is something that's really quite interesting. I learned that Korean delivery culture can be traced back, and I don't know what this means, but the Joseon period, which is between 1319 and 1910 in the country, in the area, the region of South Korea. It says, the tradition of food delivery in Korea traces its roots back to the Joseon period. Now, what is the Joseon period? Great question. I didn't look that up. But this is when food delivery services were used by nobility and royalty. Today, over 70% of South Koreans use mobile food delivery service apps like, I'm going to butcher this, Yogyo, Coupang Eats, Baydal Minjok, continuing a long-standing tradition in the country. The earliest Korean delivery food on record is for naengmyeon, cold buckwheat noodles in soup in July 1768. So what's interesting is that the South Korean people have been participating in this great tradition, which we've adopted in America, of food delivery since before America was even a country. let's just give it up for the South Korean people. I mean, true innovators, and it's such an honor to have you as a part of the Space Trash Force, knowing that you come from a long history, a tradition of innovation. And we spoke about this other fun fact earlier when I was giving you hints as we listened to the national anthem for South Korea, is that fruit is expensive there. Fruit prices, including apples and pears, reached record heights, with apples costing 6,000 to 10,000 Korean won per apple, or per apple. Now, I've recently really gotten into apples. I'd sworn off apples for a long time. They used to hurt my stomach a lot. I don't know if it was like the acidity of the apples or what it was. And I just had some bad experiences with apples a few years back. So I'd sworn them off, but I was back home visiting my family, and my parents got a new place, and they're kind of in between places. They didn't have a lot of food at their new place, but they did have apples. And me and Pops, we cut up an apple, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. It really reinvigorated my interest, my hunger for apples. So I was like, let me get some apples back in Washington. If you didn't know, where I live in Washington State is actually really known for apples, and I was so disappointed. And I spent now that's if I could translate 6,000 to 10,000 Korean won to American dollars, that's what I'm familiar with. That's as high as $7 per apple. And I just feel thankful. Let's just have a moment of gratitude right now, because I just got 2 apples from my local farmer's market, Cosmic Crisp apples, which that's the type of apple I had back in Missouri when I was visiting my family. And I bought both of those, I think, after tax at the, kind of farmer's market, which is usually more expensive because, you can, it's like a small farm producing. So I like supporting it, but I got 2 apples for about $6.50 after tax. So I just want to say to you, my South Korean listener, if you ever come over to America and we're able to meet each other, or if I ever end up in South Korea, I would love to share an apple with you, because I'm coming from a place where, I've had this weird history with apples, and, but now I can get an apple, and I can't wait to crack into them. Hopefully they're better than what I just bought from the grocery. But even at the grocery store, I can get a bag of apples, like 7 apples for about $7. So I'm really coming from a place of just privilege, apple privilege. And I just want to say, man, that's tough. That sucks. If you're an apple eater, my listener, our listener over in South Korea, and I say that's tough, but also, I tell you what, I bet you whenever you eat an apple in South Korea and it's a good, nice, juicy apple. I don't know if you guys have Cosmic Crisps over there, but I bet you that's just a delight, isn't it? Here, let's do one more fun fact. And this was another hint that we played during the South Korean national anthem. And I thought this was like the most interesting fact I learned about your people in South Korea, is that culturally speaking, you should avoid the number 4, or for our Spanish speaking listeners, which we have many, the number cuatro. But you probably know 4 if you're listening to this. So sorry that I made that assumption. My bad on that. I'll receive that rebuke that I just gave myself. I will do better. So why do the South Korean people avoid the number 4? It's because the Korean word for 4 is probably pronounced this wrong, saw, which is also the pronunciation for the Korean character, like their letter, for death. So the number 4 is considered an unlucky number, given the sonic similarity to misfortune and death. Some buildings, this is quite interesting, Some buildings, let me put the rat tail forward for this. Some buildings skip the fourth floor and use the letter F instead. For house numbers with multiple fours, i.e., apartment 404, property values are much lower. Now, I want to speak directly to our South Korean new member of the Space Trash Force. If you live, if your residence has a four in it, maybe even multiple fours, and I just want to say I'm sorry that you're experiencing that hardship. If you are in a place where you don't have a four in your residence, maybe you're a homeowner there in South Korea. We also don't know where at in South Korea you are. So feel free to write in to Mike Heath at MikeHeathComedy@gmail.com. Would love to learn more specifically about where you're from. I always like to know members of the Space Trash Force and kind of like what your situation is and maybe what your exposure is to space trash collection and our movement there. But yeah, so excited to learn more about your country. And speaking about learning more, last week's episode, we talked a lot about our marketing ideas. We have not found a solution on the space trash suit quite yet, but we are working on the Portuguese translation of the guerrilla marketing poster, which if you're on YouTube, you can see right behind me here, above my shoulder here. The thing that we're stuck on is, so for our English poster that we use in the United States of America that we hang up all over, it has Uncle Sam. There's this, it was old, kind of like marketing that the government used about like, we want you, Uncle Sam saying that. And I'm curious, like what that figure is for Portugal is. So let's just look this up right quick. So like, what is the Portuguese equivalent to Uncle Sam? Let's see what we learn here. Oh, then this is quite interesting. In Portugal, the closest match to the American picture of Uncle Sam is Zé Povinho. It was created by Rattail Bordalo Pinheiro in the 1800s. It represents the common people, the common Portuguese people, not the government. Often portrayed as a humble, sometimes frustrated everyman. Famous for the manguito gesture. It's a kind of sarcastic arm gesture, which is like this, which I'm realizing may be offensive. I don't know. But I think that's what we'll do. We'll put Zé Povinho. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. We don't have any Portuguese listeners that I know of right now, unless people in Brazil who speak Portugal. I know we have some Brazilian listeners. So maybe you could, I don't know if you could help us out, there on the Portuguese translation. Would love to have, your feedback before we finalize that and we go to the local library and we print that off. Would love to hear what you think about our translation on into Portuguese. But I think we will, as I really like this image, kind of the everyman, because that's what we are here. We are not a people yet of, massive influence or, like a lot of money or whatnot. But this is perfect. This is the perfect icon to put on our Portuguese guerrilla marketing poster. And so we're going to get that going. And we do need our Spanish speaking one, but we got to focus on Portugal because we are going there in less than a month. 3 weeks we will be in Portugal. So we got to get this together. I do have another idea for marketing here in even like Seattle, where I live. In Seattle, we have a lot of these little libraries. And what I thought would be interesting is we've talked a lot about the pamphlet. So not just the poster, but a whole pamphlet. Let's print off at our local library, use our print quota to print off little pamphlets about Mike Heath's Orbital Garbage Project. And maybe we're ordering stickers right now with the MHOGP logo. Slip one of theirs as a gift, just a free gift to whoever goes to the local little library. They pick out the pamphlet like, oh, what's this all about? Oh, Space Trash Collection? Local comedian Mike Heath and Space Trash Man going out of his way in getting this group of people together to collect a piece of space trash. It's only going to cost $2 million. Let's help this guy out. And I think that's something where, because we talked last week about how it's illegal to slip like flyers or paperwork into people's windshield wipers, which we thought would be a great way to like really personalize our marketing efforts on like the guerrilla kind of grassroots level. I think this is a way where we can do that in a way that's legal and ethical, morally speaking. So, and that's what I'm all about here. I want to do everything we do above board. I don't want anything to be like shady or kind of like have a hint of corruption in anything that we're doing. So I think that is the way we go. I'm really excited about what we can do with little libraries. As we put out this pamphlet, we get that together. I think it would be probably too much of like a financial burden to like ship out free stickers. But if you want a sticker, every member of the Space Trash Force over on the Patreon gets one of those as a free gift. You just you sign up on there. You're committing yourself, so we'll give a little gift there, at least that. And then we also have a hat and a shirt that is exclusive for Space Trash Force members that you will also get on your third month as part of the Patreon. And as we're in this kind of mood of maybe let's just call it advertisements, let's play a little advertisement from a longtime sponsor. There you are on your patio on a nice summery June afternoon, talking about the summer blockbusters with a refreshing drink infused with your favorite celebrity movie star dude's sweat. Starbros Iced Strawberry Horchata Macchiato Refresher is made purely of 37% organic Mexican cinnamon, 97% organic strawberries, and 100% of your favorite Starbros sweat. For a limited time, we even have sweat infused in our iced horchata macchiato strawberry refresher from the one, the only, Timothy Chalamet. He's been working up a sweat in the sands of Dune to cool you off this summer. And our sweat is directly sourced right from the set of Dune 3. Your refreshing summer favorites are here at Starbros. Tell them the Mike Heath Orbital Garbage sent you over to get 1% off your next Ice American Horchata Strawberry Refresher. That's right. Starbros summer drinks are not just coffee brewed with water. No, it's brewed with pure celebrity sweat from your favorite bros of Hollywood. Beat the heat this summer with a refreshing drink from Starbros. I got 13 different emails about this. Mike, where's the space news at? Well, folks, we got some good news. We got news from space. Hey, Mike, where'd you get that news from? It's news from space. Our counterparts in the, let's just call it the space industry, the Space Force, not the Space Trash Force, but they want to award up to $3.2 billion for the Golden Dome interceptor prototypes. So if you don't know about the Golden Dome, basically it's where the Space Force, which is the American military force that is defending us against all things space, the Golden Dome will be these kind of satellites orbiting Earth, hopefully not further littering our low Earth orbit, which we already know is completely littered with millions of pieces of space trash. The Golden Dome is a proposed U.S. missile defense architecture aimed at protecting the homeland which is the United States of America, from ballistic, hypersonic, and cruise missile threats. So I think missiles from cruise liners, by linking ground, air, and space-based sensors and interceptors into a single network. So they got $3.2 billion for that. And my question is, I put all this money into these interceptors. Well, what are they doing about space trash? We already know that travel through space, out of Earth's atmosphere into low Earth orbit, even as Artemis 2 went up to the moon, something they had to consider was all of the trash, the orbital garbage that is surrounding Mother Earth. So, I'm kind of curious, how could we link up with the Golden Dome for cleaning up space trash? Maybe there's something there. If they're doing $3.2 billion, all we need is $2 million to collect a piece of space trash. So, what is that? Is that the 0.2 there? That's not even that. It's the 0.002 of that to get what we need for collecting just a single piece of space trash. So I don't know. There's probably nobody on the Space Force that is also a member of the Space Trash Force. But if there is, we would love to chit chat with you. In fact, if anything, feel free to email me here at mikeheathcomedy@gmail.com. Would love to connect with you about that. That's what's going on in space right now. Besides Artemis 2, which was a few weeks ago now, we got the Golden Dome. And that's kind of an update, on the space side of our project. We've been doing comedy. We've got some good clips for you to play this week. And if you've listened thus far, I know my wife, Megan, has not listened this far into the podcast because I'm pretty sure that she doesn't listen to the podcast. But if she is, she's in for a real treat, and you are as well, because we got some great clips. Number one, the first clip we got, so context for this. This is a Don't Tell comedy show here in the city of Seattle. If you don't know, Don't Tell shows, they happen in kind of these odd places, like not like your typical like comedy club or bar setting. Can happen in a gym, a bookstore, a clothing store. This one was happening in a yoga studio, which was a body positive space. And about 5 minutes before I go on stage, somebody's chair broke loudly. Everybody knew if it turned around, and here was a fun little riff I did on the chair breaking.
Place is awesome. The body positive space. I know that's true because when that chair broke, no one laughed. They're just like, oh, you okay? That's awesome. It's different than how I grew up, but I do feel safe here. I'm always insecure about my calves.
We posted that clip on Instagram, and let me tell you, to no effect. But maybe you watched it there, and maybe you liked it, or maybe not. And you go over there, if you enjoyed it, hit a little heart button on that action. Send a little love over to Mike Tony Heath Instagram there. Another fun moment this week, I was down at Emerald City Comedy Club doing the open mic on Tuesday, having a fun little, 3-4 minute set, doing out some new jokes. And with about a minute left into my set, this other comedian walks up. Now, let me paint the room. This is like a 300 probably person room, and there's probably 50 to 60, maybe even 70 people in the room, but there is nobody in the front 3 rows, which is where you can see where the stage lights are kind of lighting up. And then everybody else is in the shadows. So it's just lit emptiness, kind of a lit void of humanity, and then people in the shadows. And with a minute left in my set, the comedian that was going to go 2 comics after me walks up with their big old camera and their tripod, and in the front row sets up their camera completely in front of everybody. If you could picture it, imagine you were at a parade and you were kind of behind the parade barrier, and then somebody stands in front of the parade barrier and sets up a camera. That's the kind of solitude this person had, and kind of the attention, the kind of singularity. While I'm on stage telling my jokes, this comment comes up, and here's a fun little riff I had on that awkward situation.
Yeah, he's setting up his camera right here. Don't be distracted by that. And probably shouldn't have said that, but we did. It is still happening, and this is for my Netflix documentary, actually. So I paid him a lot of money to do this. Thank you. Yeah, so sign your NDA on the way out. And,
last night, that was fun. Great. Fun that I know that's not a video. That was just audio only. For you audio listeners, was just as enjoyable. For people watching on the tube, you win some, you lose some. Today, y'all lost the opportunity to see that video, but that's why you got to go out and support live comedy. You get to see those moments with your eyeballs. You can see that with the naked eye, so to speak. Last clip we have for you. Last night, we did a show here at the Old Stove in the Ship Canal, which is a great place to go watch local comedy. If you're in the Queen Anne area, or if, maybe you can't make it out to a comedy club, go there, or even go there, support them as well. We had a booked theme comedy show, and I walked up with a stack of 3 books and said what you'll hear in just a moment, and then had a very fun crowd interaction. The video for this is out of focus, but you'll be able to hear it and picture it very well. You're going to enjoy this. Here's this little gift I have for you.
These are the books I've read. It's not good if the books you read can fit in one hand, but this is just I'm sorry for being vulnerable with you, okay? Thought this was like a safe space here in Seattle. Apparently not, but I'll go on, okay? I started my reading journey in high school, as many of us did, and okay.
All right, that's a wrap, folks. I'm gonna go eat some dinner. I might eat some more of these Skittle Gummy Fuegos, which are really good. You should check these out. Not as good as the old Starburst Sweet Heat that was out during the pandemic, but great. They got mango flavor, raspberry, strawberry, lemon, and watermelon. A big fan of these. My new favorite candy that's still in production. My old favorite candy, Sweet Heat, discontinued. Comedy coming up this next weekend. No shows. Going to be in Reno for a friend's wedding. On May 8th and 9th, I got Mother's Day shows here in Seattle, back at Old Stove Brewery. Go check out those. They'll be very fun Friday and Saturday night. Following week on Thursday, May 14th, I'll be featuring for the Seattle Beer Week at Latona Pub here in Seattle. And then last but not least, we have our monthly show at the Rabbit Box. I believe that is a 7 and a 9, something like that. 7:30, 9:30, 7 and 9. Early and late show at the Rabbit Box Theater in the Pike Place Market here in Seattle. Those are our exciting shows coming down the pike. And until, we see each other next week on our new release schedule here on Mondays, which hopefully will be a better time to release a podcast than Saturday morning. So far, that schedule has not been effective for furthering our mission of space trash collection. But I believe a Monday release schedule can only catapult us further toward our goal of collecting a piece of space trash. Because I believe, in my heart of hearts, together, we will clean up our orbital junkyard.
Great shot!